first ever meeting in a knockout game between Chicago and Reign underway in this NWSL Challenge Cup quarterfinal.
Mike, right away, I'm eager to see how these two teams start. Some of the most rotation amongst their rosters that we've seen in this tournament. How does that play out in terms of the energy levels, rhythm for both of these teams? And as you mentioned it, Rory Dames saying he felt his team hit the wall early on in the tournament, but now we're starting to re-energize themselves and getting on that front foot at the right time when these games matter.
Fishlock will chase. And back, Julie Ertz. Ertz. Fishlock. Over a year since Jess Fishlock injured her ACL. And this OL Reign side immeasurably different without her in the lineup. A stalwart and someone who brings far more than just a really experienced hand to the field.
And already in these opening minutes, we see the energy she brings defensively, but also positionally, going to be able to find space in between the lines, which will cause trouble for the Chicago Red Stars if they're not mindful of their positioning as well. I expect her to link up with Jodie Taylor, but also when Huerta pinches in, can they have overlapping runs, combination play that ask questions of the back line for the Reign? Excuse me, for Chicago.
McCaskill drops off. DiBernardo. Vanessa DiBernardo, 4th overall pick, all the way back in 2014. The core of this Chicago side largely unchanged, especially in midfield. Although on the day, Gautreau, Nagasato, and Tierna Davidson may not feature at all. Massive cornerstone pieces for the Red Stars. St. George nearly taken by Fishlock. Short, standing up. Elia Watt throws Chicago.
Both teams off to a quick start, trying to get their attackers involved in the mix.
McCaskill, that knocked aside by Murphy. That would have snuck inside the post. Corner.
And Miss McCaskill could typically play in that number 10, but she can also play up top. But this is why you want her in deeper positions, because she can pick up the ball, and anytime she has space, she can unleash a shot. Rory Dames talking about one of the best strikers of the ball on his team.
Corner lofted, Ertz rolls back across the face of goal and out.
That was one of the concerns for the Reign coming into this game. Set pieces, how do they deal with the likes of Julie Ertz, her ability in the air, Casey Short. You see Casey Short just peeling out, providing some space for Ertz to run into. And it's Amber Brooks that loses her. OL Reign get lucky with that one just trickling across the 6-yard box and eventually find its way out of bounds.
Colaprico stepped into the challenge. Rory Dames, 8th season as the Red Stars head coach in the NWSL, predates the league in his time with the Chicago Red Star organization, and a longtime youth coach before that.
He really has done an exceptional job of keeping a core group together. So even though they're in a bit of a transitional period in terms of their attack, what that looks like, getting those players on the same page, we're still seeing them as this tournament continues on.
Johnson pushed it ahead. Hill. As far as she got. Amber Brooks.
We're seeing the Chicago Red Star team, with the experience that they have, being able to create opportunities. The missing pieces, that execution, finding the back of the net.
Huerta St. George took it away. Her first season on the field. St. George with the team last year dealing with injury. Casco lined that off the referee. Mentioned Lauren Barnes at the very outset of this broadcast. What do you think about her playing wide to allow Brooks and Cook to play together in the middle?
Well, typically she is a center back, but at the same time she is left-footed, and it allows the Reign to be able to get up the side with a natural left footer to whip balls in behind. Just gives them a different look to play balls in deep. See if they can get that back line for the Chicago Red Stars facing their own goal, but also so good technically. Can she get in the mix, create more fluidity in the attack as well? Still keep some of their best players, as we've talked about with Chicago, trying to get their best 11 as they wear on in this tournament. Same thing with the Reign.
Colaprico. Back to Johnson. DiBernardo tried to knock it wide. Ahead to Fishlock. Won by Ertz. Comes out to Huerta. Look for the switch. Caught Colaprico. That asked a bit too much for Rachel Hill.
And right idea by Huerta, but it's that positional play we were talking about from Colaprico. Tasked with sitting in front of that back line, not allowing the Reign to get on any quick counterattacks. So good in the midfield, one of those core players that has a lot of experience with this Red Star team.
Cruz, Costa Rican international. Brooks. Cox. Alana Cook.
Having the versatility in the back line, when you're asking about Barnes, allows them to get players like Alana Cook, more experience in this league, gives them a good chance to continue to evaluate players in a higher pressure situation when the results do matter more than they did in the opening rounds.
Alana Cook on loan from Paris Saint-Germain in France. Signed through 2023 there, but as I think we all know, and always make moves in the international windows. Springs St. George and runs by her.
Good idea by DiBernardo to look for the switch there, to allow for some room for St. George's. Just a missed touch, but that's what you want. Create 2v1 situations going forward.
Lana Cook being chased by Watt, and Murphy sends it to the Sun. 21st all-time meeting, mentioned previously, unbelievably, the first time they've met in a knockout game. Two perennial playoff teams you'd think at some point would have happened. Ships in the night. Huerta. by Barnes. Maybe a little extra tug there. Ertz driving ahead. Strong-willed run, and now McCaskill. Johnson, positive ball.
And I like the positioning right now that Julie Ertz is occupying more advanced positions up the field, wins the ball, gets herself higher, can play make out of the position where we've typically seen her play as of late, a holding mid for the U.S. women's national team.
Colaprico releasing Hill, who's onside. And Hill lays it back. Johnson skips off the crossbar. Murphy gave it a wave. Rachel Hill, 4 goals last year in Orlando.
And more direct play that we've seen from Chicago Red Stars in this tournament. Ball over the top to Rachel Hill. Does well to hold it up and allow for players to come in. And Johnson with the first time just sends that right over the bar.
Johnson initially drafted by then Seattle Reign. Even Rory Dames in his press conference in the lead up to this game goes, "Can I call him Seattle? I'm going to call him Seattle." Lyon, the French giant, bought into the club over the offseason, hence the rebrand. But Johnson, one of, in his estimation, 5 players competing for 3 spots up front, and they've been so focused on the characteristics that they're looking for to help build their roster moving forward.
And he's been very clear that the fact that it is a work in progress. They've only had about 6 or 8 weeks to work together when they thought they were going to have 6 to 8 months. And there's no lack of creating chances throughout this tournament. Was clear about the data he has to support that, the video he has to support that. But at the same time, it's just the execution, the final touches on the tendencies of each of those players. So it's a constant rotation of who's going to be the best mix up there, but also happy with the competition. Players wanting to compete for those spots.
Rory Dames said at the press conference in the lead up to this game, 2nd most box entries, tied most passes in the offensive third. So the analytics are there. Finally looking to crack the code. Ertz plays it forward. Hill, Barnes. Good start from Rachel Hill.
Active on the back line, making runs to look in behind. And right now, the Reign not doing a good enough job of getting pressure on those center backs for Chicago. They're allowed to dump the balls in behind. Putting pressure on the Reign's back line to clear balls. I think the big question, Mike, coming into this game too is the midfield battle, an experienced midfield of McCaskill, DiBernardo, and Colaprico, 3 players that have played many games, many minutes together, versus Fishlock, who's just coming back from injury, Shirley Cruz, that was just on the ball, and McNabb, who's typically a defender.
Fishlock out into the wide area. Jenkins looking to get it forward. Off a big skip. Nair tried to catch that, and certainly the sun is in her eyes. Corner.
But already just having an experienced player like Fishlock on the field, you could feel the crispness, the energy, the urgency in their play.
Very crisp start for OL Reign. Corner. Cruz settles. There's Alyssa Nair, the first choice goalkeeper. The United States women's national team led them to a World Cup title in France. Ertz.
That was better pressure from the Reign strikers, making it predictable, forcing Ertz. If you're going to have them play long, make it predictable for your teammates to be able to clean it up and win the first ball.
Fishlock. There's room back here. Jenkins shoving Sarah Gordon. And that's part of the game plan, isn't it? Short gets extended up the field, and they think Jenkins could be a little bit of a matchup issue over there.
The Reign do know that Casey Short wants to get into the attack, create overloads. And when they can win it quickly, can they expose the space that she leaves in behind?
Winner of this match faces the number 7 seed Sky Blue FC, who advanced on penalties against Washington, who are without Andy Sullivan today, only 30 minutes from Rose Lavelle. Houston advancing on penalties against Utah last night. Both those games scoreless draws. The only goal thus far, the quarterfinal round, came from Portland's Morgan Weaver against North Carolina. Huerta, leading ball into space. Fishlock will chase. Johnson.
Well done by the Reign. Quick press and then repress to win the ball back.
Huerta bodied by St. George. And the whistle comes late on the leg extension from Huerta. Short. Tossed into the sideline by Jenkins. Julie Ertz. Onside Hill. Hill enters the box, sends the service past McCaskill.
And Hill is having so much success on that right-hand side. Lauren Barnes getting pulled out of the shape, leaving so much space in behind her. And Rachel Hill doing a good job of keeping herself on side, forcing Amber Brooks to have to come out. And again, it's that final pass that's not executed. Can't pick out one of the runners for the Chicago Red Stars. But that's the balance. If you can't press, then you got to drop and stay compact if you're the Reign. Otherwise, you got to go full swing, get pressure on the ball, prevent Julie Ertz from playing those balls, because right now it's too easy for Hill to be able to find that space in behind and create some opportunities.
The Red Stars team that has the ability to ping that long ball with such accuracy, even with the loss of Tierna Davidson coming into this game. And certainly the runners to go chase.
In credit to Ray, and this is a better start than we've seen in their opening rounds. We said crisper, not as methodical, trying to ping the ball and the urgency in their defense, but they can't get caught in between.
And notably for OL Reign, one of their leaders in setting that press, sitting over that back line, Allie Long, not in the lineup. Cruz will take the space. Cruz will take a bit more. Barnes playing out on the left to start with Brooks and Cook in the middle.
And with Fishlock back in this lineup, we see Shirley Cruz in a bit of a deeper role in the midfield for the Reign. Was playing higher up in the number 10 role, attacking midfield, but now coming back, helping set play. But with both teams, if they don't press, dropping off, there's got to be better movement to be able to find space to at least bypass that first initial line of pressure.
Cruz waits. Barnes for Fishlock. Ertz, strong step. And Shirley Cruz, a player with so much experience in CONCACAF with Costa Rica, and while most of her career has been played in Europe, you've seen her enough to know she can provide a lot, maybe more than she's given thus far.
And it takes time when you come into the NWSL. It's a physical league, it's fast-paced. Got to find a rhythm, especially as a midfielder, much like we've talked about with the Red Stars and their attack. Same with this OL Reign team, a work in progress, starting to try to understand the tendencies of your teammates.
Sarah Gordon is down. Jenkins, Gordon have been matched up often to start. Jenkins shown a yellow. Accumulation warning is reset after the quarterfinal.
And that's the second tough challenge that we've seen from Darian Jenkins previously on Casey Short, this one on Sarah Gordon.
Jenkins not on a yellow card accumulation warning coming in.
As a striker, though, I'm sure she's happy to repay some of those fouls that she typically gets.
Reed Bidstede there, former coach at Leon, with experience at the very highest levels of European soccer, reaching the UEFA Women's Champions League final. Taylor. Fishlock. Cruz hits too high.
And Cruz seems to be more comfortable coming from those deep rolls, being able to attack this ball first time. And we haven't seen much of this in this tournament. First time, half chances. I like this look from Shirley Cruz. Why not? See if you could test Nair early on. Talk a lot about the build-up play, being patient if it's not on, but also at times take the risk, take the half chance, see if you can catch the goalkeepers off their line or out of position.
Cruz won it ahead to Taylor. Ertz steps in, and this launched out of play. Let's go down to Marissa, who's been listening in on the Reign sideline.
Reign assistant coach Sam Lady told me that right now the Reign needs more people showing for the ball. Players off the ball need to make easier options for players on the ball. And he said furthermore, they need to create more space for their teammates if they're off the ball, and also gain more space in possession, take on Chicago's defense.
And it's going to start with those three in the midfield that we've been talking about. McNabb primarily in there for her defensive responsibilities.
McCaskill looping Cruz.
But she's going to have to make sure that her movement pops off the back line to help set play. And we've seen Lauren Barnes pinch in to be one of those players as well, but it's leaving them exposed. So they're going to need to sort out that movement. Typically, they've been playing with two higher attacking midfielders and one deep, and now it's inverted, two lower with Cruz and McNabb. The only way you're going to unbalance this defense from the Red Stars is that movement off the ball.
Casey Short can't get there. Jenkins back now for Cruz. Skips into Alyssa Nair. quick-moving, free-flowing, opening 25.5 minutes to this NWSL Challenge Cup quarterfinal. All the way down to Murphy.
And that's where you imagine that this OL Reign team will be missing Allie Long, a player that does want to get on the ball. One of the reasons they were at least successful defensively in their playmake, but also not allowing or conceding very many opportunities.
Saw Allie Long on the bench for OL Reign. Nice step by Barnes to set this up. Huerta spills to ground. St. George tried to kick it free. Foul, St. George.
That's a better bit of possession for the Reign. Jody Taylor, more movement than we've seen her throughout this tournament already. You can tell that she feels comfortable with Fishlock underneath her, combining with Huerta. Coming into this game, one of the criticisms of the Reign's attack is that all their front runners were on islands, no one combining, too predictable.
Lauren Barnes to take the free kick, 4 times named to the All-League team, including in 2016 when she was the NWSL's Defender of the Year. Barnes, good-looking service. Taylor taps it to Nair.
And the Reign know that they won't be able to win the aerial battle. The likes of Casey Short, Julie Ertz in their Red Stars lineup. This time they look to just float a near post ball in. Good run by Jody Taylor, but can't get enough on it, can't get her hips around it to cause any issues for Casey Murphy. Excuse me, Alyssa Nair.
Ertz out to Watt. Runs by Short. Settled. DiBernardo.
That back line for Reign dropping so early. DiBernardo had loads of space to run into that ball. See the distance between the back line and where Fishlock is. So much room.
Ertz. St. George, did she give it away? Fishlock won't get there. Ertz hook slides this back to Nair. Look at that from Fishlock.
Oh, what
return.
a touch. What a touch by Fishlock. I thought Jody Taylor was in, or at least going to get it back to Fishlock.
Fishlock a chance! Nair knocks it aside. Nearly Fishlock's first goal in more than a year. And you can tell she has not lost any of the touch that makes her one of the most unique players in the NWSL.
And she gives this Reign team such a different look. Just reads the play well, finds herself into little spaces, quick touch, gets this rebound off the Red Stars defender and just fires a shot, forcing Alyssa Nair. And that was headed to the far post. In the end, an easy save for Alyssa Nair to get down.
And from that, a set piece for Barnes. Fishlock waiting on the other side. Lifts this over the 6. Ertz steers away. Taylor ran in. And out for a corner.
But the fluidity, the movement off the ball, especially with their strikers for the Reign, such a different look already in this game than in the first 4 games of this tournament. And you can feel Jody Taylor growing into this game. We're seeing movements that we hadn't seen previously from her. Where to getting on the ball.
Taylor growing into the game, a scary thought for Chicago. Euro 2017's leading goal scorer for England. Bounces down, appeal from several players for a handball. And we've reached a hydration break in Utah. Up-tempo game thus far in the NWSL Challenge Cup quarterfinal. There is no VAR. Jess Fishlock hoping beyond hope for a second look at that. 33rd minute, Reign and Red Stars scoreless. You're watching the NWSL on CBS Sports. Let's see how far OL Reign gets in the tournament. We'll see how this progresses, right? Although fair to say, not many better to follow around than Marissa Pilla. It's been outstanding for us all tournament long. And Steph Cox, also a high school soccer head coach, time with the national team, 89 caps. Just someone who's been around this game for a long time and understands how to lead a team like OL Reign through a tournament like this.
And I've had the privilege of being her teammate and knowing what she's like, both on and off the field. And it's her composure on the ball, her technical ability, yes, on the field, that brings another layer to this OL Reign team. But it's the personality she is off the field. Just a delight to be around. She cares about her teammates. And when you start to think about these higher pressure situations, knockout stages, that's what you want. Somebody that can bring the calming presence. Tell her teammates just to be able to believe in themselves and let's go out and have some fun.
NWSL Challenge Cup quarterfinal. Coming out of the hydration break, OL Reign, Chicago Red Stars scoreless. Cruz weaves it out wide. Jenkins on the move. Back to McNabb. Closed down by Watt. The cross is a good one. Couple taps there from Taylor. Cruz, a missile that's high.
And brilliant initial service in from Stephanie Cox, just whipped in behind. Jody Taylor did well with it, but just finds herself near, further past that near post, can't get around it, turn around. Decent idea to try to recycle.
Taylor sprinting forward. Rolls all the way down. Trouble there for Brooks. Swung into Johnson. Brooks slides in. Johnson tumbles over. Gestures at the AR.
And dangerous play by Brooks. I don't feel like she needed to leave her feet. But well done to be able to get all ball.
And then a foul. It was against Colaprico.
And Mike for the Chicago Red Stars. Here's a tackle. Amber Brooks getting all ball. Well done to be able to make sure she doesn't give up a foul in the penalty spot. But if you're Chicago Red Stars and you're looking at this match, you've had a ton of success with Rachel Hill.
Huerta foul by St. George. It'll take a lot of closed captioning to figure out Huerta's opinion here. There is the yellow card to St. George.
And credit to the Reign right now, finding those spaces of where they can be the most dangerous, having success on the left-hand side, finding where to out wide, a position that she felt like she could shine in, more space, taking on 1v1, does well against St. George's here, drawing the foul after she gets past her. And see if she wants the card for excessive foul.
St. George into the book. Lauren Barnes. Roel Rain headed down, away from Nair. McNabb slides in, and it's out for a goal kick. Does feel like Taylor is closing in on poaching a goal for the Reign.
And how this doesn't find the back of the net, I don't know. Low-driven ball. Jodie Taylor does everything right. Her positioning holds her run, but just skims off her head. Can't redirect that enough.
Is McCaskill sprung through. Dragged her out wide, St. George. Followed by Huerta. St. George and Cruz.
And the Red Stars need to do a better job of recognizing this space. So much success in behind. Lauren Barnes getting forward, there's space. Amber Brooks not stepping quick enough. And there's so much room for these front runners to run into. It's a quick switch the point of attack out the other side. And you know, those players often running at the back line of the Reign.
th minute. Savannah McCaskill knocked down by Cruz. Free kick, Chicago. Anything on the attacking half of the field is dangerous with the Red Stars. Vanessa DiBernardo. Murphy caught that at the high point. It's lifted too high even for Julie Ertz. Came off of Cruz. Kalia Watt. Colaprico fouled.
Just unnecessary fouls right now from the Reign. Just keep your feet moving. You have support behind you. Now you allow Chicago to be able to set up and look for the likes of Ertz in the air. Caskill can deliver a good ball in behind.
Lifted forward. Watt tried to get there. Alana Cook got a touch out to short. toward Ertz and ripped right at Murphy. The flag was up on Ertz for offside before Watt delivered that bullet.
The right call on Julie Ertz. But again, the reason why you don't want to put yourself in these positions, knowing that Julie Ertz is so dangerous on set pieces, whether she's the initial target or she's looking for second balls off the rebound.
Haskell. Back at Karleva, the referee. Hands outstretched. Ertz. Johnson. Play will come.
Silly fouls, no need to be fouling. You have, yes, Katie Johnson's running at you, but you have players in behind. Just either drop your line, make it predictable for yourselves, but instead just constantly fouling one another, giving up free kicks that could potentially be a dangerous situation. And for two teams that want to keep possession, they want to build, right now they're not connecting more than 2 passes.
So DiBernardo will get another look at this. Illinois product strikes it out to Hill. DiBernardo got the cross away now. Taylor. Good shrug by Barnes to throw Hill off the scent. But now surrounded and gave it away. Great run by Kalia Watt. Squares up looking for McCaskill. Brought down and wide to Hill. Numbers in the box. Ball crossed low and back out. DiBernardo. Hill once more. Hill toward the back post. Once again cleared out. This time Huerta more convincing. Only as far as St. George. Finds Ertz. McNabb clears. McCaskill, Ertz, and an inconvenient ball off of McCaskill.
And this entire sequence starts with this pressure on Lauren Barnes. They make it predictable, the Chicago Red Stars, and then Watt, I feel like she should have gone herself. There was plenty of space to be able to unleash a shot with her left foot. Is unselfish, tried to square that ball across, but then they're able to pick the ball up again and go again, and it's the pressure initially to make it predictable for one another. Bait Lauren Barnes in, she can't play out, and they get themselves in a decent opportunity. Just can't execute on it.
Fishlock running at the back line, all dropping in unison. Huerta chips. Cave in there. Some jerseys, TV. That's the way to do it. Been doing this wrong this whole time, Lori.
You need the Budweisers in here.
Short delivers for Hill, making a central run.
And it's as simple as that for the Chicago Red Stars. A quick switch at the point of attack. They get Casey Short into the mix, and then a good delivery of the ball. 2 passes unleash so much room for the Red Stars to be able to get out the other side and find some space to attack.
Huerta, caught by Nair. Nearly 2 minutes into stoppage time. Coming up at halftime, we will remind you how the quarterfinal round has gone thus far. Show you the highlights thus far in this one. Twice we've gone to penalties, both in scoreless draws. Katie Johnson, shortly before halftime, banged up. Johnson drafted the second round by Laura Harvey's then Seattle Reign. Harvey watched her at USC all year and thought maybe would fall to number 26 in the draft. Then the College Cup final happened. Had to move up to 16, use that pick instead. Johnson bounced over to Sky Blue, ultimately now to Chicago. Cruz. Final seconds of first half stoppage time. Jenkins strides on, plays a low cross, short, sends us to halftime. OL Reign in Chicago, still looking for our first goal of the day in this NWSL Challenge Cup quarterfinal.
In a wide open game, especially for two teams that we thought were going to come out, kind of nullify each other in terms of their possession, but loads of space in that midfield for both teams to run at their back line. But credit defensively, both teams doing enough to keep the other off the scoreboard.
And on a night when we say goodbye to the Challenge Cup glare, our final game at the venue, Twitter account soon would imagine to be deactivated, so they find something to rename it. Rio Tinto Stadium, we're scoreless. Huerta trying to find a goal here against her former club. We're scoreless at the break. Take a look back at our earlier quarterfinals. Get you caught up on this one. We'll be right back with more of the NWSL Challenge Cup, presented by P&G and Secret.